Yeah, I have a very like all in obsessive type of kind of personality, but in a way I think it's fun. So when I first got into real estate, I was in the Army for 6 years and then got out to pursue real estate as an investor. Actually, I wanted to invest in rentals, which I did, because the whole idea is the financial freedom, getting paid in your sleep and not having to work every day until you die. And so that was the intent. And I did a lot of like finding deals off market. Like you mentioned, I did a bunch of renovation projects, like whether it be flips or renovate to refinance and then hold longer as a rental. A lot of that stuff, but this is like the second wave for me. There was a couple years in there where I almost quit real estate entirely just because I went out so hot. I have a tendency to like go.
This is going to be relevant later.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I have a very like all in obsessive type of kind of personality, but in a way I think it's fun. Like for me, it's fun. It's not like pressure. It's not force. It's just like, I'm so interested and so bought into this, but I did do it for years at like a very intense level. And the issue for me was I wasn't just doing it for myself either. By that point, I decided to start a team where I had 30 plus agents in 2 different markets and outside of my investing, you know, doing sales and then going and speaking at like conferences and all, like it was just too much. So I just shut it all down. And then I took like 2 years to recover. And now I'm rebuilding in a way that is sustainable and only putting back in the pieces that I really love doing to like build a lifestyle as opposed to, you know, just the coming out hot and see how much I could do.
What were the guiding principles when you sort of did your rebuild?
The type of people that I wanted to work with was very different.
Clients or team members?
Both. Both. I actually have no desire to build a team again, at least nothing to that magnitude and nothing anytime soon, just because agents are salespeople and they are like cats. Like what is it, like you herding cats?
Herding
They're
cats,
just the worst. Whereas I am the personality type that much prefers like the admin back end stable personalities that are like checklists, reliable, follow processes, not the like butterfly type of people. And so I would rather build a business that was around me as the primary agent. My husband's also a real estate agent, so it would be around us, and then have like a very large, not large, but like robust admin piece to leverage out, you know, 80% of that sort of workload so I can focus on the 20% that brings in more business, builds relationships, et cetera.
One of the things we do at Wild Like the Pros is catalog which pieces of gear top CrossFitters are using. And when it comes to shoes for Metcons, Tier is the most popular brand. From the solid CXT2s, the Elite Carbons, which have the carbon plate, which gives you an extra power output, or the CXT Flows, which are lightweight and durable, head on over to tier.com and use code TIERTEAM2JG to get 20% off your order. Yeah. So you mentioned you were in the Army for 6 years. What do you think things you learned there formed how you do your real estate business? And then eventually we'll get into CrossFit. But
yes, absolutely. The Army was incredibly impactful for me. And it's weird because I was never one of those people who's like, I want to serve my country.
How did you get there in the first place?
Yeah, I got there because I wanted to go to college out of state. And my parents were like, yo, dude, you got to figure that out because I'm not paying for that. And so I fell into, my dad was in the Army, so he did kind of push me that direction, but he was like, hey, ROTC, they'll cover 4 years, then you just have to do 4 years when you get out. You don't know what you want to do anyway, which I was like, true. So that, you know, I did my 4 years ROTC, and then I ended up serving 6 on the back end because after 4, I was like, I still don't really know what I want to do. Let's just keep doing this. But it taught me so much in regard to like structure and discipline and find a way to win. There's no like, oh, let's just quit. It's like you have to find a way to hit the goal, and you know. And then also taught me a lot about like leverage and delegation and what I didn't want in a lot of different ways. It was great.
And then when did you find CrossFit in the Army? I mean, it sort of fits very naturally with that community, or did you find that after? Or when did CrossFit come?
I found it after. So growing up, I was a competitive gymnast. I had a late start, so I didn't start till I was like 11, which is really late in gymnastics world.
Right. Yeah.
But when I found it, it goes back to that kind of like obsessive personality thing.
You
Like
were
I
all
went
in.
all in, and, to the point where it was like 4 or 5 hours a day, 6 days a week as a kid, and then 2 days during the summer. So very intense. And then I broke my ankle and grew 6 inches in the same year, which is not good for gymnastics. I'm
Right.
almost 5'8". Like that's not
Right.
gymnastics
You're a
level.
tall lady. Yeah.
I'm a big girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then after I was in the Army, I got out and I was looking for something because I'd never found anything like the way gymnastics made me feel. But in the Army, at least, you have that like camaraderie. There's competition. You're looking for, they test you so you can try to like beat your previous scores, but also
Right.
like beat everyone else in your unit. So that's fun for me. And then when I got out, I like went to Planet Fitness and I was like, dude, this is not it.
This
This is not it.
That's where my mom goes. I'm currently in a long-term project to convert her over to CrossFit. So
Yes,
far it's
I
a fail,
would love to talk to your mom about
Yeah.
CrossFit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found CrossFit back in 2018 when I got out, but I did it for a year and a half, and then I moved so many times because with my real estate business, part of the deal was like house hacking. So like you buy one, you live in
Right.
it. And I was moving all the time. It's so much other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And when I moved away from the gym that I originally loved, and I tried out some other ones and it just didn't click. And then I hit this massive burnout where I just really stopped everything.
Yeah.
And that also included CrossFit. And since then, that was like I think COVID actually is when I like stopped doing CrossFit. And then I've been searching kind of since then, like, hey, like, let's find something that has a little more longevity. Cause in my mind, CrossFit was like gonna break me. Cause people say that on the internet.
Right.
And I searched, I like ran, a marathon, and I did a half Ironman, and I did tried to do parkour, and
Whoa.
I just did a bunch of random things
Yeah.
and never found it, and found myself back at a normal gym. And then I was like, no, I'm in Kentucky. This is after I had moved because I was in North Carolina before. I was like, let's try from my house. And that was August of last year. I'm coming up on a year. And it's like, I am so happy to be here.
Yeah. What about this approach is different than your initial approach, would you say?
I think just overall a maturity and mindset. When I came in this time around, I actually told KJ in the beginning, I was like, I'm just going to come like 3 days a week. This is going to be a very, I'm just going to stay healthy, things.
Yeah.
But coming in with a little bit more of like, it doesn't have to be the end all be all. Let's take the longevity approach throughout everything that I'm doing in my life has really helped. And obviously the 3 days a week thing didn't, because now I'm like, can I go 2 days? I want, which I don't sometimes, but yeah. Anyway.
So I struggle with stopping. Like I'm similar to you, and I love this thing I found, and oh my gosh, I love it so much, and I want to do it. But I'm in my 40s, and I need to take care of myself. It sounds a little bit like the way you were positioning it is you're trying to a little bit be more deliberate. What are some practical things that you do to sort of temper the here we go to the moon Shelby and like think more long-term Shelby?
So great question. Something that I did, and I think it's because I don't do it as much now, but I'm thinking about like getting back into it, because one of the issues that I had the first time around was that you see different levels. You see RX, scaled, whatever. And you think, at least for me, my personality type is like, I don't care. I'm doing RX. Even if it kills me, I'm going to do it. Whereas this time around, I was much slow. Like I didn't RX in the beginning, the first couple months. I waited for my body to catch up with what I wanted to be able to do. And with that, it really helped not hurt as bad, Yeah,
for sure.
Going slower. And the other thing that is much different this time around is I care so much more about learning the technique and learning how to do things properly. And taking the time, either looking at videos or asking coaches or people, hey, watch me. Can you tell me what I'm doing? Can you video this so I can go back and watch it? And I think that the buy-in to technique has also helped significantly.
What's your favorite part of CrossFit? What are some of the parts where you're like, oh man, maybe not so much that part, or are there any such parts of it?
Oh my gosh. So of course I love the physical aspect. I love the feeling of being strong and knowing like you can lift yourself or heavy objects. And there's just something when you get up in the morning and you like feel strong, it feels good.
Yeah.
And the energy that comes from that, when you go to I literally feel more mentally clear and I have more energy for the rest of the day. Besides, there is that like dead period also.
Right. No, yes, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So
pay
the
the
physical
piper.
aspects for sure. But then also I love the mental challenge of it. When, you're looking at a workout and you're trying to like brainstorm how you're going to attack it. And then you pushing yourself as hard as you can without redlining and like just trying to like balance right on that edge for when to push, when to breathe. Do I actually have to? And then that mental game of like, am I just being a little bitch?
Yeah. Right.
Or am I dying?
Yeah. Do you have a memory of a workout where you nailed it with the strategy?
Nailed it with the strategy. Man, it's much more the opposite.
Where you blew it with the strategy?
Yeah.
Or any examples of that?
Well, I just remember, so this was my first open this past year.
Okay.
And it was that workout with the thrusters.
Oh, yeah.
And the gymnastics movement and then the double unders.
Right.
And I remember Steven Johnson, was like, don't go out, like break up your sets early.
Yeah.
Because the first thing was pull-ups,
Right. Yep.
And I'm like, okay, break up the sets. But then you're feeling so hyped and people are there.
Yeah.
And I just went out way too hot.
Yeah, I think I judged you and you did not break them up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right. Dude, Trevor, you are actually the best judge too.
Thank you.
Well, yes. Although I feel bad saying that because Johanna just judged my community cup thing and she did a fantastic job
young.
too.
She has a way to grow.
But yeah, so that workout in particular, I just remember getting to the muscle ups at the end and being like, I wish I had way more left in the tank. I wish I would have completely reversed this and gone slow, like the game plan. So
yeah. Is there any like must-have gear that you really enjoy or that you really like, or you've found, oh, this really makes my performance improved?
So I would not consider myself a gearhead. However, I am a big believer in the equipment that I do have, which are grips. Of course, maybe I say,
which
of
ones
course.
you use?
I use the Pixel.
You use Pixel?
I looked it up ahead of time because I figured you were going to ask me.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, before that, I used the Bear Complex ones, and then they ripped. And I wanted more Bear Complex, but I asked Santa, and Santa got it wrong.
You got a different one.
But I actually really like them. They were harder to break in, but I think they're great. Another thing that I love are wrist wraps. That was a total game changer for me.
That before you go into what those are, I just want to say I have no idea what those are for. That's part of the CrossFit world. I don't even know why we wear them. I think of them as bracelets.
You think of them as bracelets? You're insane.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a recent one for me also. And it's because when I was doing snatches, I was like, man, my freaking wrists kind of hurt. And KJ was the one who, for listeners who don't know, KJ is the head coach at the gym that Trevor and I both go to.
Super duper strong.
Super strong guy. Yeah. And he was like, well, you just put on wrist wraps. I'm like, dude, what? So he goes and gets me his, and it's literally just like a wrap that these are kind of elastic. So they stretch and then they make it really tight around. And I put it from like kind of midway in my hands all the way over my wrist. Is it to
prevent this?
It's not to prevent this. It's to do extra. It's just strengthens your, especially on snatches. When you're like held out so far, that's not a natural way for your wrist to hold weight.
Right.
And wrapping them, and then so he did that, and then he gave me thumb tape.
Well, yeah, I need
those
to do that.
powers combined. I'm telling you, like my snatch jumped like 20 pounds that day.
Wow.
Because of those things. So
that's crazy.
Big believer for here.
Okay, nice. This was your first year going through the CrossFit season, but it was totally different last year. They didn't even have the Community Cup. So what were your thoughts on the Community Cup as a pro? What did you think of the workouts? And then relative to the open experience?
I had so much fun. And you're totally right. This is my first experience with all of it. So yeah, but even the open I thought was so exciting. I loved seeing where I rack and stack against, people throughout the sport. It was so fun. I got the top 95% on 2 of the workouts, awesome. And then like an 86 on the other. So I was like,
Which ones were your strengths in your 86?
My weakness was that first workout, was the one with the burpees and
the cardio one. Yeah.
Oh, it was a straight cardio workout. I was like,
that's my strength. That's my best.
Yeah, you crushed it. But all out, I came in at 93rd.
Wow, that's
percent,
great.
which was level 9, which I was really excited about.
Congrats.
But it's also kind of crazy because now I have some, there's a local, it's going to be funny she's hear this. There's a local girl here who's like really good. And I was like stalking everything she did. And that was really aspirational too, because she's like, I think she got 97th and she like kicked my butt on these workouts, which really made me excited because I love chasing. I love like kind of being the underdog and like chasing people. Yeah. But then going into the community cup, it was kind of weird in my brain because I was like, man, I'm a level 9, but that means that I'm competing against the top dogs. Like
I was the same. I was the 7 competing against the 8s.
Yeah. But like the actual workouts were very fun, and not everyone competed in it, which kind of bummed me out a little bit. Yeah. But I came in. It's crazy. I looked. There were 680 girls in the pro division who competed, and I came in number 23. That's
sick.
Yeah. So
let's do the math on that. 23 over 680, you said?
Yeah.
I should be able to do that quicker. 95.
Okay, I can't at all. You go for it.
You're in the 96.3% tile. That's sick. Congratulations, Shelby. That's
Thank you.
Awesome.
I was really proud of that. I do wish that more girls, competed, so that way I would have been in like a larger pool. But I'm very happy with it, and I'm super excited to see what this next year brings as well.
Yeah. And so now you're the sort of official CrossFit competitive season has ended, but you'll do local competitions sort of throughout the summer.
That's right. Yeah. We got 2 coming up in August, which I'm super stoked about. And I'm like always looking to see if there's more. There's like a Kentucky CrossFit competition page that I wish more people were sharing events on.
I'll have to share. Yeah, I'll have to find that. What do you do to get yourself ready for CrossFit? So talk to me a little about, do you have like a routine in terms of like nutrition, in terms of supplementation, in terms of like, how do you, when you're not in the gym, still take CrossFit seriously and prepare yourself for it?
For sure. I'm a big sleeper.
Same.
I'm a big early sleeper too, like in bed.
When's the earliest you've gone to bed in the last 5 years? Not sick.
Like 7:30 p.m.
Well, that's pretty early.
Yeah. My normal though is like 8:30, between 8:30 and 9. Like I like to be asleep by 9. And then I wake up at 5. But I want those hours, and I want the consistency too. I get made fun of because people are like, "Oh, you still do that on Friday and Saturday?" And I'm like, my body performs best when it goes to sleep and wakes up at the same time, regardless of the day. Yep. And then when I wake up, I drink like 2 of these of water. Well, it's really just whatever these are. If you can see it, if you're watching on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to his channel,
holding 2 large glasses of water.
Yeah, water, and then put lemon in it, and I put salt in it too.
Do you?
The Redmonds, I think is the brand. I do that, and then I have a bunch of...
How much salt do you put? So in that big white one that you're just holding, call that, what do you call that, 32 ounces?
Yes.
How much salt do you put in that?
My husband says way too much, but I don't think so. Literally, I don't know how much, but I like dunk it in there. Probably like 3 dunks of salt.
3 strong, hefty shakes.
Hefty shakes of salt. Yeah. So there's this guy on Instagram. I don't know if you follow him. It's Dr. James Dinnick on Instagram. And he is constantly posting things about like the breakdown of what creatine actually does for you and whether or not you should actually take it and, when to take it. That's something that I really like too. That's my next step of getting better is right now I have some supplements that I take like magnesium and K2, and I'll do that in the morning and like fish oil. But the thing that he's got me on now is that it's not just taking the certain supplements. It's also what time of day and along with what type of, whether it be fat or carb or whatever, to make your body absorb as much as possible.
Yep.
Not at that level yet. I just take them in the morning. And then I also do coffee with collagen and cinnamon.
You do?
That's like pre. And then I'd go to the gym at 6:30. And after, I just started this 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, taking creatine. And this is at post-workout. I'll take creatine. And I just started protein also, because these are things that I never did before.
Really?
And now I'm like big believer in creatine.
Yeah.
Do you take it?
Yeah, I've been on it for about 2 years, and it's been a game changer is too strong. But like, I remember like, and I've been on it for 2 years, so it's kind of normal for me now. Yeah. But I remember like feeling like, oh, I'm not so tired doing this. I think I might just go a little harder this time. So that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm loving it. So doing that, but that's really the only like kind of supplements that I take, what I just listed.
Yeah.
But I'm a big believer in trying to like 80-20 principle type of thing with 80% clean. And by clean, I mean like just not processed, no preservatives, not out of a package.
Yeah.
If it was killed or if it grew from the ground, then that's probably good to eat.
Probably good to eat, yeah.
But otherwise I try to, and then like I drank so much in my like 20s and when I was in the army, I'm just not very interested in that anymore because of the effect that it has on me the next day. Like seriously, it hinders my sleep. I feel like shit the next day. I'm lazy.
Hey, you're ready for 35 already. Something like that. Yeah. That's funny.
I'm here. Yeah. Okay. I feel like I've taken so much of your time now.
No, you've given me a really great gift, and I really appreciate you being generous with your time, Shelby. I'm going to wrap it up here. Is there anything, I don't even know if this makes sense, but is there anything you want to, I mean, not that I have an audience to plug you to or anything, but is there anything you want to mention?
Yeah, if there's anyone out there who wants to just follow the journey, I'm sharing some of it on Instagram at The Shelby Show. And would love to be a part of that with you. So yeah, reach out and I'll follow yours too, and it'll be so much fun. Also, if you want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, then hit me up because I'm happy to help.
Sweet.
That's it.
Shelby, thank you for your time. And I'll see
Thanks
you
for having me.
in the box. That could be my phrase.
See you in the box.
All right, I'm going to stop.
I get far, I'm a postman.